Hi guys, welcome back to Becoming by Nqobileh. It is so good to be back. It is really amazing to be back. I think I'm feeling super amped for this video purely because of the feedback that you guys gave me in the previous video. So both my husband and I are super grateful for that. And once again today we have a very special guest joining us. Mr. Husband himself.
Starting not to feel like a guest. This is home now, and
you're
I know it's your podcast, but it's good to pop in now and again.
So the reason why I asked Mr. Husband to come along was obviously based on some of the feedback that I received from the previous video. I think most of the viewers and the listeners just liked the fact that we were able to spark each other's creativity and conversation in like a really informative way. Like, you're naturally an inquisitive person, so I think that helped also just guide and expand on the topic a little bit more. So that's one of the reasons why you're back today, and I like having you here. I really do.
Thank you. I also like to be here. Like you said, I'm inquisitive, so I like to pick your brain on certain things, but most of all I really enjoy the conversation and the enlightenment we both get out of the conversations that we do have.
Quite dope. So hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are taking care of yourself. Remember, mental health matters all the time. Okay. So today's topic is a bit of a personal one for us, if I may say. It's something that, you know, we've identified with in our personal capacities and also just as newlyweds as well. So we're really just hoping that you guys will help us engage in this topic and really just hear our hearts through it more than anything. It's not necessarily some deep psychological stuff or anything like that. Yes, it might pop in every now and again, but it's just mostly just us pouring out our hearts and hoping that we touch somebody and hoping that, you know, we shed some light in how we can respond differently in different situations. All right. So do you want to introduce today's topic?
Oh yeah, so you guys might have seen on the actual heading that today is a reaction to Minnie's, Minnie and Mr. Jones's sort of divorce. But if I have to be honest, it is a reaction, but it is also kind of clickbait. We've been identifying sort of certain things about our social media space as South Africans, the way we see things, the way we respond to things, and the way we sort of have the lack of empathy, the lack of support, and the lack of mindfulness of the fact that we're actually dealing with people. So we titled it that, but more so we just wanted to open up the conversation based on not just Umini. It's just that for us, I think Minnie, sort of Umini and Mr. Jones's sort of announcement was more what the bottle was already full. We've seen enough of this, and we just wanted to pop in and, like we said, have a conversation around this, and hopefully have everybody who's tuning in or watching via YouTube to actually put some comments in and to spark a conversation, because I think that's one of the main things about becoming, is to actually not just hear our side, but to actually spark positive, forward-thinking conversations that can help us together as a generation, as a nation, and as a people to move forward.
Yeah, more than anything, I think that's the most important part of the podcast, that yes, we're sharing our experiences, yes, we're sharing our views, and to also be mindful that we won't always say the right things. Everything that we say will also be based on our own lenses and our own perspective, or our own thoughts about things as well. That's why I always say that it's so important that we always just hand the platform over to you guys as well, because we'll all have various contradicting thoughts at the end of the day, which is okay, and which is the main reason why I started this podcast. Yes, I let you into my mind, into our minds, but I want to hear what you guys think and what you guys say as well, because we really won't always be right, and the aim is not to be right. The aim is to start a conversation, and see how it goes, as long as it's a conversation that moves us forward, as long as it's a conversation that propels us, as long as it's a kind conversation that gives insights towards things that you might not have really thought affected you, or towards things that you might not have really been knowledgeable about. So that's where we always wanna. That's what we always want to highlight, and that's where we always want to end it on a positive, kind, loving, empathetic note. That, you know what, be kind always.
Yeah. Okay. To get started and get into the topic, that is a very long intro. I think one of the traits that we firstly want to speak about before we dive into the whole reaction is our social media culture. You know, as a country, is very. It's very toxic. I mean, I read some of the things that people say, and I realize how insensitive, they really are. And in a weird way, people always hide behind the fact that all these celebrities, their life is in the limelight, so we have a right to say what we want to say. That's one. Second part is, people always hide behind the freedom of speech, thing, which, I can say what I want, and it's a social media platform. We're free to share our opinions. We're free to share our thoughts, which is obviously correct.
Which is correct. Yeah.
But to also a larger extent, because we are a very young country in terms of where we come from for our history, but also a very young country in terms of some of the spaces that we're entering into, whether it's publicly, social media, whether it's the actual media. We still have so much of growth, but it scares me how in a country where we have so much of growth, we also have so much of negativity and so much of pressing down and so much of pushing people down and so forth. So I just want to chat around the thing of what really causes people to be so empathetic, what causes people to be so nasty, and what causes people to almost feel like they're talking to a non-existent person. It's so shocking. The lack of empathy is so scary. And, sometimes I wonder, does it come from envy? Does it come from, I never got that opportunity, so because I didn't get it, I would push down the person no matter what, and I'll say what I want to say with no consequences, because I know that I might never be in that spotlight, so I have the right to say this type of thing. What's your thoughts around that, and where do you think it comes from?
It's a tricky one, because again, I don't think there'll ever be a right answer for that, because I think most of the people that behave or think in this manner might not necessarily have their own justifications as to why they feel like they have the right to be so entitled into having negative or nasty or non-empathetic opinions about somebody's personal life, And like you're saying, I like the fact that you're touching on the fact that, at the end of it all, we are a young country when it comes to social media, when it comes to celebrities and so we grew up reading all of these tabloid things and all of those things, like on AmaU magazine and all of these things that we grew up being exposed to, and on our channel 124, and we see how much control and influence tabloids have in the lives of celebrities overseas. And I think we sort of missed, I don't know what's the right word to say what I'm trying to say, but I think we sort of forgot our core as a people, and we just adapted that and just felt like, okay, that's the way to go, and that's what we need to do, and that's the eyes that we need to look into, that's the lens that we need to view people in the spotlight as, and we forgot that as a people and as a country, that's not our core. We're such a diverse nation, but I don't think there's any culture in South Africa that advocates for anything that puts another human down. I don't think as diverse as we are, we have people of different shapes, colors, sizes, languages, ethnicities, and all of these things. But I've never not yet seen or heard of a culture that advocates for negativity, that advocates for this entitlement that people have.
I get what you're saying.
So, and it's just,
I get it. If you look at the core of who we are, the whole subject of ubuntu, the respect, the love, the community, the essence, is really not something our forefathers grew up with. And we just chose to adapt the social media life of the Western culture into Africa and South Africa. Like a copy and paste, and forgetting who we are as a people, and Bambisana, being together, and
the consequences of the copy and paste.
And the consequences are actually quite hectic. I love the points because it's actually so true, and that's why when sometimes I read some of these things, I'm like, have we really forgot who we are? I think of our late Lerato, who just passed away.
Cooley Roberts.
Sorry, Cooley Roberts. My apologies. I'm not so good with names. But to be honest, I haven't followed much of her content. But I watched her podcast with Meg. Just that thing that she said, Meg asked her, "How do you want to be remembered?" And she said, "I don't want to be remembered. What I do want, though, is for South Africans to actually learn to love each other, to stop putting each other down, for them to actually start uplifting each other and stop going on social media and speaking about all these things." Because if she could say, "I don't want to be remembered, but I want that essence of who we are to be remembered," you can see it's actually becoming a problem. To dive into the next part of this is that it's so weird how people forget we are humans at the end of the day. Before anything, before a celebrity, before an influencer, I'm a daughter, I'm a son, I'm a human, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm
real
an uncle.
life experiences.
I have real life experiences, and it's so sad how people say these things behind closed doors, forgetting you never know what the next person is going through. And it's so sad that we have this culture of we say things when, God forbid, when someone passes away, they commit suicide, we focus on it for 2 days, then it's a big hoo-ha, everybody forgets what's been said. Then tomorrow it's on to the next person, and if something happens to that person, it continues. One day, we're so sorry, and then it continues. So,
sorry, just to touch on that, which is so sad because last week was Suicide Prevention Week, Suicide Awareness Week.
Oh yeah.
So people are saying such ignorant, hurtful things, and you really, really don't know. Already, a divorce in itself is such a painful process. Because I like what you said earlier before you came and said that at the end of the day, nobody gets married to get divorced. Nobody starts something to fail, So the mere fact that you envision your life and your family and your future around this marriage or around this union, and one day you have to wake up and be like, okay, it's not working and we need to part ways. That in itself is such a painful process. And on top of all of that, to have people still bring in so much negativity and so much entitlement and so much of,
It's sad. Where that came from is that in this podcast or in this episode, I really want to break it down to the normal person in the hope that somebody will listen to this and be touched, and somebody will listen to this and actually change their view and their mindset as to how they choose to communicate what people are going through, especially celebrities. The first part of it is that we look at it as a divorce, but let's break it down into you starting a business. Nobody starts a business in the hope that the business will fail. Or maybe not fail in the hope that the business won't work out. In this sense. Now, imagine you do that, and instead of people coming around you to say, listen, you learned your lessons in that business, you did your best, it's okay, take some time, go to rethink it, this is what you can do differently, go back and start again. No one starts university in the hope not to fulfill their degree. No, nobody starts it that way, but sometimes it happens where you have to take a step back, maybe you have to change a career, the subjects you chose, change the modules, go back into it and start again. So we go and we look at celebrities and we look at the people that are in the limelight and we bash them for that, but no one wants to bring it down to themselves. So before you choose to comment, first part, think of it. No one starts a job in the hope to quit or get fired or find a horrible boss and stop. No one starts anything in that light. But how come we feel so entitled that when things don't work out for people, instead of actually supporting them to say, hey, both of them, I know Guti, because Minnie is more in the limelight, everybody's focusing on that. No, it's painful for on both of them.
And their families.
And their families. Yeah, imagine if we're having a group of gentlemen that will go, hey, this didn't work out, we're here to support you, and we don't need to know each other.
Just like what you would expect if you were going through a similar experience, because it's literally just that simple. I mean, just also going back to your example, imagine if you start a job and you get fired and everyone is just like, we knew that you were not going to make it.
You're not supposed to start that job. Why did you start that business? Why did you start that business?
Like, imagine if, like, for every single thing that you've started in life and didn't become successful, because that's what life is about. People were there to bash you and, like, say all of these hurtful things about you. Like, imagine what that would do to you as a person.
And that's even one person. One person saying that is painful. Imagine 5,000 people.
Country.
Imagine 5,000, 10,000, 200,000, 1 million people coming on to say, Vele, you're not supposed to start that business.
Imagine everybody feeling the need to have an opinion in your personal life.
It really makes me so emotional because I love people and I know what it's like to start stuff. I know what it's like to fail. Or I know what it's like for it to work out. And I think of all these celebrities that go through such turmoil, like we all do. The only difference is they're just in the limelight. All of us do on a daily basis.
Everybody sees them and nobody sees us.
We're
all going through something.
But we're all going through something.
It's like your first heartbreak. Everybody has experienced a first heartbreak. What if when you fell in love for the first time and that person broke your heart, and then everyone is just like on your case? Why did you date this person when you were not supposed to date this person? Because that's some of the things that we hear. You're not supposed to get married in the first place. It's this person's fault. You're not.
We're such a failure-driven nation.
Yeah.
We're not a, hey, that didn't work. We love you. We support you. We're with you through this. When you get back up, we're still going to support you, and we'll still be with you.
Yeah.
And to go back to the next point, this is an encouragement to everybody who's watching this. Ugoti, how about we try this? Next time you choose to comment on what people are going through, I always hear this thought. Ugoti, imagine, depending on your faith, you get to heaven or you get to the next phase of your life, and the supreme being or God in that time takes out a television and plays out your darkest secrets in front of everybody.
Then what?
Imagine if that would happen and you would look for a place to hide, but there is no place to hide.
Yeah.
And all of us will see the things that you're most ashamed of, the things that you don't want to sleep at night thinking of, the mirror that you don't want to look at.
And comment.
Imagine if all of us could actually see that and see you for who you are and actually speak about it. My encouragement is that the next time you think of commenting on what somebody else is going through in a negative light, I hope that before you type that comment, you actually now think of yourself and your deepest, darkest secrets and your most dirtiest, most filthiest thing that you do not want anybody to know, that is deep within your conscience. I hope that you think of that first and you think of how you would love for somebody to actually respond to that. I feel like if we all exercise that, we'll actually think and respond much differently, because you'll be like, okay, I know what that's like. I don't need anybody to kick me down, to kick me while I'm on the floor. In fact, I need support. I need love. I need care. And I need a group of people to actually say that, hey, I'm with you.
Come on now.
Yeah. But I think that is the whole point of this podcast, that if Minnie sees this, if Mr. Jones sees this, if anybody
who's going through a
similar experience sees this, we just want to share that we love you guys. We support you. Even for those who are going through their own things and nobody knows about, we love you, we support you, and we really hope that the culture of this country I know that it's going to affect you, but I hope that you also know that there's millions of other people
who are
going through this, but also millions of other people who love you and that support you and that are cheering you on and that are saying, we see what you just went through. We're not going to focus on that, but we're rather going to focus on supporting you, being your safety net and sending words of encouragement, words of love.
Yeah. I think just to track back a little bit as well, if there's one thing that I also really dislike about the country that we've become, is this whole clout culture.
Yeah.
Yo. Guys, like, it is so sad how, people want to strive at the expense of other people, at the expense of somebody else's life. It doesn't matter what I say. I would rather trend for a negative comment or, a hurtful thing, but I'm trending. And that's all that matters.
That's all
and
that
it's
matters.
So, like, I wonder, this cloud culture thing, it's so painful. It speaks into cyberbullying. It speaks into, all of these other various things that we see on social media and that we see on social platforms. And like you said, we forget that before the celebrity, there was once a person, and even during the celebrity, there is still a person.
There is still a person.
There is still a human being like you and I who goes through grief, who goes through depression, who goes through sadness and anxiety and PTSD and like all of these other things that you and I experience. So I like how you just sort of brought it back together, that at the end of the day, bring it back to you and I. And if you know that, I'd rather trend for knowing that I said something positive and something helpful to somebody than trend knowing that I had to step on somebody's head to get there, which is not nice.
I know, that is so true.
Nice.
Thank you so much for mentioning that.
Nice, yeah.
And to also mention one more thing, to everybody who speaks negatively and really perpetuates this, remember that you have a brother, you have a sister, you have a cousin, you have a mom, you have a granny that might go through certain experiences.
You have yourself.
You have yourself. I don't think you would make a video speaking about your sister who went through such an experience to say, Wuti, hey, yeah, really, you were not supposed to get married. Yeah, so that's another way to bring it back to self. Before you comment, think of your loved ones, think of the people that you care about, think of yourself. Would you like people to react and comment to you and about you?
The way that you comment about somebody else's life.
In this manner, yeah. I really hope people catch the heart of what we're saying. Really, let's change this. And I know, you know what, knowing the culture, even if one person chooses to continually look at these things in a different light, we would have made a success.
That's
because the heart of this video is to really help people change their mindsets and actually start going back to our ancestral essence of who we are. Siyathandana, siyabumbana, siyakhana, we support each other. Ubuntu is something that's there. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. So let's go back to that. Let's not let the rest of the world dictate who we are and forget our forefathers.
And it's so sad because the space that we're in, most of the people that are in the social media space right now are people in our age group, and we're growing. So we have a new generation that's coming after us, and those people are coming very quickly. We call them Mama 2000. Those people are coming in very quickly. They're more ruthless than us. They're more passionate than us. They're more aggressive than us.
But they're also going through a lot. Now imagine if we want to hand them over this banten of negativity, because also they're more sensitive than us as well. They respond to things more sensitively than how we do or how we did when we were the age. So I don't think that this is a banten that we want to hand them. I don't think that we want to leave them a platform that encourages negativity and that encourages speaking badly and the lack of empathy and just stuff like that. So let's also just think about that as well. Let's think about who we're leaving this world to. Let's think about the children that we want to bring into this world one day. It starts with you. Like I always say, that's one of the reasons why I was so convicted to start my YouTube channel, that I was like, okay, even if I just get one viewer, it's okay. It's okay. That's the aim. The target is simple. One.
Literally.
That's a person's life change. That's a contribution to society.
And that's enough for us. That's enough for me. And the vision and the purpose for this podcast would have been
fulfilled.
Yeah.
In closing, if you're going through something, and you don't have the support you need, we just want you to know there's millions of other people that are going through this, but more so, we love you guys, we support you,
we see you,
yeah. And also get the help that you need. If your family is not coming around and your friends are not, then go for support groups, go for therapy.
You can DM me personally as well, and I'll try to steer you in the right direction of which resources you can access in your area of residence. You know, even if one person is helped, that's literally enough.
Thank you for tuning in.
You guys are amazing. We love you guys so much. Please take care. Mental health matters all the time. Each one help one. Be kind always. You literally have nothing to lose. And we'll see you again next week. Take care. Okay, be good. Hearties.